I stood in the doorway of the penthouse suite, wearing my usual jeans and a simple black sweater. The bass from the music system pounded through the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown. 28 men in designer suits and luxury watches turned to stare at me like I'd walked into the wrong dimension. My brother Marcus, 32, stood at the center of the room in a custom Tom Ford tuxedo that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. His bachelor party was in full swing: champagne towers, catered seafood platters, a private bartender mixing drinks worth $50 each. The Meridian Grand Hotel's crown penthouse, all 4,000 square feet of it, glittered with excess. Riley. Marcus's face twisted with confusion then embarrassment. What are you doing here? I held up the invitation his fiancée Brittany had sent me 3 weeks ago. You invited me. Well, Brittany did. Said family should be here. Marcus's best man, Derek, a hedge fund manager with slicked back hair, looked me up and down with undisguised contempt. Dude, seriously? Your sister showed up dressed like she's cleaning houses. The room erupted in laughter. I'm a brother actually, I said calmly. And these are comfortable. A brother who clearly didn't get the dress code memo, another groomsman called out. This is a 5-star hotel, man. They have standards. Marcus walked over, his face flushed red. Whether from alcohol or embarrassment I couldn't tell. Riley, look, I appreciate you coming, but this is kind of an exclusive thing. The guys and I were celebrating properly. Maybe you should head back to wherever you're staying. I'm staying here, I said simply. Room 2847. Derek nearly choked on his whiskey. You're staying at the Meridian Grand? On what, your warehouse salary? I worked, or rather they thought I worked, managing inventory at a furniture warehouse. It was a job I'd taken 8 years ago, fresh out of community college when Marcus was finishing his MBA at Northwestern. Our parents had poured every resource into Marcus's education, his networking, his career trajectory. I was the practical one, the one who wasn't cut out for business school, as Dad liked to say. The warehouse pays well enough, I said, keeping my voice even. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder, steering me back toward the door. Riley, I'm going to be straight with you. This weekend is costing me $40,000. Penthouse suite, open bar, private chef, bottle service. The works. My groomsmen are all successful professionals. CEOs, investors, entrepreneurs. We're talking business deals, making connections. You being here in your Walmart clothes. It's not the vibe we're going for. I understand, I said softly. Do you? Marcus lowered his voice, but not enough. His friends could still hear every word. Do you understand how hard I've worked to get here? To build this network? These guys are my future business partners. My investors. And you show up looking like you're about to ask if we need the trash taken out. Derek raised his glass. Honestly, Marcus, I thought hotel staff wasn't allowed at guest events. More laughter. Loud, cruel laughter that bounced off the marble floors and designer wallpaper. Maybe Riley can fetch us some fresh towels, someone called out. Or fix the ice machine. Does the hotel know their maintenance guy crashed a private party? I stood there absorbing it all. Every joke, every snicker, every condescending look. My brother didn't defend me. He didn't tell his friends to stop. He just looked at me with a mixture of pity and irritation, like I was a problem he needed to solve before it affected his reputation. You can't even afford the parking here, Marcus said, trying to sound like he was joking but meaning every word. The valet service alone is $200. How do you even get past the front desk? I walked in through the main entrance, I said. Without being stopped by security? That's surprising. Marcus glanced at his Rolex, a graduation gift from our parents that cost $35,000. Look, Riley, I'm trying to be nice here. But you need to go. This isn't your scene. It's never been your scene. I'd heard variations of this my entire life. When Marcus got accepted to Northwestern with a full scholarship, Dad threw a party at the country club. When I got accepted to the local community college, Mom said, well, at least you'll save money on housing. When Marcus landed his first job at a consulting firm making $120,000 a year, they framed his offer letter. When I took the warehouse job at $42,000 annually, Dad asked if I'd considered applying myself more. When Marcus got promoted to senior consultant, they took him to Paris to celebrate. When I got promoted to inventory manager, they sent a congratulatory text message. The pattern had been clear for decades. Marcus was the golden child, the success story, the son who made them proud. I was the practical one, the backup plan, the child they mentioned second at dinner parties. "I'll head to my room," I said quietly. "Good idea." Marcus actually looked relieved. "Maybe order room service, watch a movie. This party's going until 4 a.m. anyway. Bottle service doesn't stop until sunrise." I turned to leave and Derek called out, "Hey Riley. If you see any hotel staff on your way out, tell them we need more champagne up here. The Cristal, not the cheap stuff." The entire room erupted in laughter again. I paused at the door, pulled out my phone and opened my encrypted messaging app. I typed quickly, "Marcus Thompson, Crown Penthouse. Cancel all suite access effective immediately. Terminate bar service. Remove catering privileges. Guest status revoked." Then I hit send and walked out. The thing about owning a hotel chain is that you learn quickly how to spot entitlement. I'd spent 6 years building Apex Hospitality Group from a single boutique hotel in Austin to a portfolio of 47 properties across 12 states. The Meridian Grand was my flagship, a $340 million property that had been hemorrhaging money when I acquired it 4 years ago. Now it generated $89 million in annual revenue and maintained a 4.8-star rating across all platforms. My family didn't know any of this. They thought I still worked at the warehouse, living in a modest apartment, scraping by on a middle-class salary. I'd let them believe it because the alternative, watching them treat me differently because of money, felt worse than being dismissed entirely. At least when they ignored me, it was honest. I walked down the hallway toward the elevators, my phone already buzzing. Michael Chin, the hotel's general manager, was calling. "Miss Thompson, I received your message. We're implementing the changes now." "How long?" I asked. "Suite access will be terminated in 90 seconds. The system is already updating. Bar service is being discontinued as we speak, and catering is removing all food and beverage within 5 minutes." "Perfect. And Michael?" "Yes. Make sure Marcus understands this is a permanent revocation. He's no longer welcome at any Apex Hospitality Group property. Add him to the banned guest list across all 47 locations." "Understood. Should I have security escort him out?" I considered this. Marcus's bachelor party was supposed to last all weekend. They'd booked the Penthouse for 3 nights at $18,000 per night, plus another $30,000 in services. He'd told all his groomsmen this was his power move, showing everyone he could afford the best. "No," I said finally. "Let him try his room key first. I want him to feel confused before he feels consequences." "Very good. I'll handle this personally." I hung up and checked my watch. 9:47 p.m. Marcus's key cards would stop working in approximately 30 seconds. I took the elevator down to the lobby level, then walked through the restaurant corridor toward the hotel's private office wing. The Meridian Grand was designed like a small city. Restaurants, bars, a spa, conference centers, even a medical clinic on the 3rd floor. I'd spent 3 years renovating it, turning a dying property into one of the most profitable hotels in the region. My actual room wasn't 2847. That was a junior suite I'd booked under my legal name as a cover story. My real accommodations were the owner's residence, a 2,200 square foot private apartment on the 31st floor with keyed elevator access and complete privacy. But I didn't head there. Instead, I went to Michael's office to watch what was about to unfold. Michael was already pulling up the security camera feeds on his wall of monitors. "Penthouse level camera 4, he said, clicking keys. The screen flickered to life, showing the hallway outside Marcus's suite. We waited. At 9:49 p.m., the door to the Crown Penthouse opened. Derek stumbled out, laughing, his suit jacket slung over his shoulder. He walked toward the elevator, probably heading to the lobby bar for more drinks. He pressed the elevator button and waited. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Frowned. Pulled out his phone and texted someone. "His keycard access is revoked," Michael explained. "The elevator won't respond to his call. He's locked on this floor." On screen, Derek looked confused. He walked back to the penthouse door and tried his keycard. The light flashed red. He tried again. Red. "What the hell?" We could see him mouth through the camera. He pounded on the door. Marcus opened it, irritated. They had a brief conversation, then Marcus tried his own keycard. Red light. Both men stood in the hallway, now looking genuinely confused. Marcus pulled out his phone and started calling someone, probably the front desk. Michael's desk phone rang. He answered with perfect professionalism. Meridian Grand Hotel, Michael Chin speaking. How may I assist you? I could hear Marcus's voice through the speakerphone. Yeah, our room keys aren't working. Crown Penthouse. Can you send someone up to fix this? May I have your name, sir? Marcus Thompson. I'm the one who booked this suite. Michael pulled up the reservation on his computer, his face betraying nothing. I see. Mr. Thompson, I'm showing that your suite access has been revoked by ownership. Silence on the other end. What? Revoked? What are you talking about? Ownership has terminated your reservation, sir. You'll need to vacate the premises within 30 minutes, or I'll be required to call security for escort. This is insane. I paid $54,000 for this weekend. You can't just... Actually, sir, according to our terms of service, ownership reserves the right to revoke access at any time for any reason. You'll receive a full refund minus the cancellation fee, which amounts to, let me see, approximately $12,000. $12,000? Are you kidding me? That's the standard cancellation penalty for same-day termination of a premium suite. It's outlined in Section 7.3 of your booking agreement. I want to speak to your manager. I am the general manager, sir. Then I want to speak to the owner. Michael looked at me. I shook my head. The owner is not available at this time. I'd recommend gathering your belongings quickly. Security will arrive in 27 minutes. Marcus's voice rose to a shout. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm a senior consultant at Whitmore & Associates. I know people. I'll sue this hotel for everything. That's certainly your prerogative, sir. However, I should mention that threatening legal action against hotel staff is grounds for immediate removal from the premises and addition to our permanently banned guest list. I'd advise against that course of action. Silence. Then, why? Why is this happening? Ownership's decision, sir. That's all I'm authorized to share. Marcus hung up. On the security monitors, we watched him and Derek rush back into the suite. The camera inside the penthouse, positioned discreetly near the entrance, showed chaos erupting. Groomsmen were shouting, holding up their keycards, trying to figure out what was happening. The bar service, I said to Michael. He made another call. Remove all beverage service from Crown Penthouse immediately. Guests are no longer authorized. On screen, the private bartender was already packing up his station. One of Marcus's friends tried to stop him, but the bartender showed him something on his phone, probably the termination order, and continued removing bottles. The catering team entered next, professional and efficient, beginning to clear the elaborate food displays. What the hell is going on? We could see Marcus shouting on the monitor. One of the caterers handed him a printed notice. Marcus read it, his face going pale, then red, then pale again. My phone buzzed. A text from Brittany, Marcus's fiancée. Riley, Marcus just called me freaking out. Do you know what's happening at the hotel? Did you say something to the staff? I didn't respond. Another text. He says they're kicking everyone out. This is his bachelor party. Can you please talk to someone? You work in customer service, right? Maybe you can help. I turned off my phone. They're asking the catering manager for an explanation, Michael said, watching the monitors. The catering manager, a woman named Teresa who'd worked at the hotel for 12 years, was explaining calmly while Marcus waved his arms and pointed at things. His friends crowded around, all talking at once. Should we send security now? Michael asked. Give them 15 minutes, I said. Let them try to figure it out first. We watched as Marcus made phone call after phone call. He was trying to reach someone, anyone, who could reverse this decision. At one point he called our father. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I could see Marcus's face crumbling as he explained the situation. Probably Dad was telling him to handle it himself, to use his professional network to solve the problem like a businessman would. Derek was on his phone too, apparently calling other hotels. But it was 10:15 p.m. on a Friday night in downtown Chicago. Every decent hotel within 20 miles was fully booked. One of the groomsmen, a guy named Craig who'd laughed the loudest at the janitor joke, tried to leave via the elevator. His keycard didn't work. He pushed the call button repeatedly, but the elevator never came. Elevator access is restricted to authorized guests only, Michael explained. Since their room status is revoked, they can't use the elevators. They'll have to take the stairs. From the 42nd floor? I asked. It's clearly marked emergency exit. That's their option until they check out properly at the front desk. On the monitors, the penthouse was emptying rapidly. The bartender was gone. The catering team had removed everything except the furniture. The music system had been shut down remotely, hotel property, controlled by the central system. Marcus stood in the center of the now quiet penthouse, surrounded by his confused, increasingly angry groomsmen, holding his phone and looking completely lost. Derek was yelling at him. We couldn't hear the words, but the body language was clear. This is your fault. You said this place was locked down. You said you had connections. Marcus's carefully constructed image. The successful consultant, the guy who could afford the best, the man with power and influence, was disintegrating in real time. Security should arrive now, I said. Michael made the call. 4 security officers in professional uniforms stepped off the service elevator on the 42nd floor. Their approach was calm, practiced, respectful but firm. The lead officer, James, had been with the hotel for 6 years. I'd personally approved his promotion to head of security. Gentlemen, James said, his voice carrying the authority of someone who'd handled thousands of difficult situations, you need to gather your belongings and proceed to the front desk for checkout. This is insane. Marcus shouted. We have a reservation. We paid for this. Your reservation has been terminated by hotel ownership. You'll receive a refund minus applicable fees. But you need to leave this floor immediately. On what grounds? We haven't done anything wrong. James remained perfectly calm. Ownership reserves the right to refuse service to any guest at any time. This is private property. You're currently trespassing. That word, trespassing, hit different. Trespassing? We're paying guests. Not anymore, sir. You have 10 minutes to collect your belongings, or we'll escort you out with whatever you're currently wearing. The groomsmen scrambled. Designer luggage was frantically stuffed with clothes, toiletries, expensive shoes. Craig couldn't find his other Gucci loafer and was crawling under furniture looking for it. Derek was still on his phone, desperately trying to book rooms anywhere else. The Ritz has nothing. Conrad's fully booked. Palmer House is sold out. Marcus stood frozen, his face slack with shock. This wasn't supposed to happen. This was his weekend, his power move, his moment to shine in front of his professional network. Sir, you need to start packing, James said to Marcus directly. I want to speak to whoever made this decision. That's not possible. Then I want a name. Who owns this hotel? James didn't even blink. That information is not publicly available, sir. The property is held through a corporate entity. Now please gather your belongings. Marcus finally moved, walking like a man in a dream toward the bedroom where his luggage sat unpacked. He'd planned to stay here for 3 nights. Now he couldn't stay for 3 more minutes. The group moved toward the stairs, elevator access still denied, carrying hastily packed bags and complaints. The trek down 42 flights of stairs in dress shoes, carrying luxury luggage, was not going to be pleasant. Michael and I watched on the monitors as they descended floor by floor, their voices echoing in the concrete stairwell. Who walks down 42 flights? Someone complained. This is absolutely insane. Marcus, you said this place was top tier. I want my money back. We should sue. By the time they reached the lobby level, they were sweating, exhausted, and furious. The stairwell exit deposited them in a service corridor that led to the loading dock area. Not the elegant main lobby Marcus had walked through with such confidence hours earlier. They had to walk around the building to reach the front entrance. When they finally entered the main lobby, disheveled and carrying their bags, the night manager was waiting at the front desk with checkout paperwork. Mr. Thompson, she said professionally, your refund will be processed within 7 to 10 business days. Here's your receipt showing the cancellation fee of $12,000. Do you have any questions? Marcus just stared at her. Why? I'm not authorized to share that information, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with? Where am I supposed to go? It's 11 p.m. and every hotel in the city is booked. I can provide you with a list of nearby accommodations, though I can't guarantee availability. She handed him a printed sheet, a standard courtesy list of competitor hotels. Derek snatched it from Marcus's hand and started calling numbers. I watched from the security office as Marcus's perfect weekend collapsed completely. His groomsmen were angry. His reputation was damaged. His power move had become a humiliating disaster. And he still had no idea why. I left the security office and took the private elevator to my residence on the 31st floor. The space was minimal. I spent most of my time traveling between properties, rarely staying anywhere longer than a few days. But it was comfortable, private, and mine. My phone had 17 missed calls. 12 from Marcus, 3 from Brittany, 2 from our mother. I listened to Marcus's voicemails in chronological order. First message, 10:03 p.m. Riley, I don't know if you're still in the hotel, but something crazy is happening. They kicked us out. Just call me back if you're around. Third message, 10:47 p.m. Riley, seriously, where are you? I'm dealing with a nightmare here. The hotel is refusing to help and I can't reach anyone who can fix this. If you see any hotel staff, can you ask what's going on? Seventh message, 11:23 p.m. I know you're probably asleep, but I'm stranded downtown with 28 guys and nowhere to go. Every hotel is booked. I might need to drive back home tonight, which means the whole bachelor party weekend is ruined. This is a disaster. 10th message, 11:58 p.m. Riley, did you say something to the hotel staff? Derek thinks maybe you complained about something? About us? I don't know, it's stupid, but I have to ask. Did you talk to anyone? I deleted all the messages without responding. Then I called Michael. Is he still in the lobby? Yes. He's been on the phone for 40 minutes. No luck finding accommodation anywhere. And the ban is in place across all properties? Confirmed. Marcus Thompson is flagged in the system. Any attempt to book at any Apex Hospitality Group location will be automatically declined. Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Miss Thompson, if I may ask, what did he do to warrant this? I thought about the question. What had Marcus done? Made fun of my clothes? Called me a janitor in front of his friends? Told me I couldn't afford parking? Those weren't crimes. They weren't even particularly creative insults. They were just typical. Standard family dismissal, the kind I'd experienced my whole life. He forgot who I was, I said finally. He made assumptions based on appearances. Well, Michael said carefully, he's learning otherwise now. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out over the city, watching the lights and wondering if I'd gone too far. Marcus had been cruel, yes. But was public humiliation an appropriate response? Was exercising corporate power to ruin his bachelor party justified? These questions kept me awake until sunrise. At 6:47 a.m. my phone rang. Riley, where are you? Marcus has been trying to reach you all night. I'm at my hotel. He said something terrible happened. They kicked him out of the Meridian Grand for no reason. He's devastated. The whole bachelor party is ruined. That's unfortunate, I said neutrally. Did you see what happened? Were you there? I was there briefly. And, did they say why they did this to him? I paused, weighing my words carefully. Mom, they didn't do anything to Marcus. Marcus was removed from the property by ownership. There's a difference. Ownership? What does that mean? It means the person who owns the hotel decided Marcus shouldn't be there. That's absurd. He paid over $50,000. What kind of business treats customers this way? The kind that doesn't tolerate certain behavior. What behavior? He was having a bachelor party. I took a breath. Mom, what did Marcus tell you about last night? He said everything was fine, they were celebrating, and then suddenly the hotel staff went crazy and kicked everyone out. He thinks maybe one of his friends said something inappropriate, but he's not sure. Now he's mortified because all his groomsmen think he picked a terrible hotel. That's his version? What other version is there? I stood up, walked to the window. The sun was rising over Lake Michigan, painting the water gold and pink. Ask Marcus what he said when I arrived at his party. You were at the party? He didn't mention that. I was there for about 5 minutes. Ask him what he and his friends said to me. Riley, what are you talking about? Just ask him, Mom. And then maybe ask yourself why he left that part out of his story. I hung up before she could respond. The Meridian Grand Sunday brunch service began at 8 a.m. I showered, changed into comfortable clothes. Yes, jeans and a sweater again, and went down to the restaurant. The hostess recognized me immediately. Miss Thompson, your usual table? Please. She led me to a corner booth with privacy and excellent natural light. I ordered coffee and reviewed emails on my phone while I waited. At 8:34 a.m. I saw them. Marcus and his groomsmen, walking past the restaurant entrance, probably heading out of the hotel after spending an uncomfortable night wherever they'd finally found rooms. They looked exhausted, hungover, miserable. Derek spotted me through the glass and stopped. He pointed, said something to Marcus. Marcus turned, saw me sitting comfortably in the elegant restaurant, and his face went through several emotions in rapid succession. Confusion, recognition, anger, and something else I couldn't quite identify. They walked into the restaurant. The hostess tried to stop them. Sirs, do you have a reservation? Marcus pushed past her, heading straight for my table. His friends followed, a mob of wrinkled designer suits and expensive cologne. Riley, Marcus said, his voice shaking. Were you here all night? I sipped my coffee. I had a lovely sleep, thank you for asking. In the hotel. You stayed in the hotel while we were thrown out. I have a room here, yes. Derek leaned over the table, aggressive. How do you have a room when they kicked us out? I wasn't kicked out, I said simply. This doesn't make sense, Marcus said, sitting down uninvited across from me. Something's wrong. First they terminate our suite. Then they ban us from the property. Meanwhile you who can barely afford McDonald's, are sitting here having brunch like you own the place. I set down my coffee cup carefully. What an interesting choice of words. What? Never mind. Why are you here, Marcus? I want answers. I want to know what you said to the hotel staff. Because this started right after you left the party. The waitress appeared with my breakfast. Eggs Benedict with smoked salmon, fresh fruit, house-made pastries. She set it down carefully, refilled my coffee and left. Marcus stared at the plate. You ordered the $40 breakfast. It's very good here. The hollandaise is made fresh. Riley. His voice had a dangerous edge now. Tell me what you did. I looked up at him. My brother, who'd mocked me in front of his friends, who'd told me I couldn't afford parking, who'd called me a janitor and laughed when others made it worse. I didn't do anything, I said. I sent a text message. To who? To the general manager. Saying what? Saying that your suite access should be terminated. The silence that followed was profound. Derek recovered first. You sent a message to the GM and they just listened to you? Yes. That's impossible. You're nobody. You work at a warehouse. You don't have that kind of influence. I took a bite of my eggs Benedict. Perfectly cooked as always. Don't I? Marcus was putting pieces together, his face shifting from confusion to dawning horror. Riley. Who are you? I'm your brother. The janitor, remember? The one who can't afford parking. That's not what I mean. How did you get them to cancel our reservation? I pulled out my phone, opened a specific app and showed him the screen. It was the Apex Hospitality Group Owners Portal. At the top in clear text, Riley Thompson, Chief Executive Officer and Founder. Marcus stared at it. Read it 3 times. Looked at me. Looked at the screen again. This is fake, he whispered. It's not. You can't, that's impossible. I scrolled through the interface, showing him the property list. 47 hotels. Including the Meridian Grand with my name listed as primary owner. Derek grabbed the phone out of Marcus's hands, looked at it, his face going pale. This is real. Ask the hostess who seated me, I suggested. Or the general manager. Or any staff member in this hotel. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell backward. You own this hotel. I own this hotel chain. 47 properties. The Meridian Grand is the flagship. For how long? 6 years building the company. 4 years since I acquired this specific property. He was doing math in his head. That's impossible. You were working at a warehouse. I was managing inventory at a furniture warehouse 8 years ago, yes. I also took every dollar I saved, every bit of credit I could access, and bought a failing hotel in Austin for $800,000. I renovated it in 6 months, sold it for $2.1 million and used that capital to buy 2 more properties. Then 4. Then 12. The groomsmen were completely silent now, watching this unfold like a car accident they couldn't look away from. "You're a billionaire," Marcus said flatly. "Multimillionaire. I'm not quite to billionaire status yet. The company's valued at around $1.2 billion, but my personal net worth is closer to $400 million after debt and operating costs." $400 million. Approximately. "And you let us think you were poor. You assumed I was poor." "I never said that." Marcus's hands were shaking. Why would you hide this?" I stood up, left cash on the table for my breakfast plus a generous tip, and looked at my brother. "Because I wanted to see who you'd be when you thought I had nothing. And now I know." I walked toward the exit. The hostess called after me, "Miss Thompson, have a wonderful day." Behind me I heard Derek say to Marcus, Did your sister really just?" "Brother," I corrected without turning around. And yes, I did. By Monday morning the story had spread throughout my family. My phone was flooded with messages, but I was already on a plane to Austin to check on property renovations at one of my boutique hotels. Mom called 17 times. Dad called 9. Marcus called 34. I didn't answer any of them. Finally, at 11 a.m. I received an email from Marcus. It was long, rambling, full of apologies and explanations and justifications. But buried in the middle was one sentence that caught my attention. "I know I was horrible to you, but I didn't know who you were." That was the problem, wasn't it? He didn't know who I was. And more importantly, it had never occurred to him to find out. I deleted the email and went back to work, building an empire one property at a time, wearing jeans and a sweater and never apologizing for either.